Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Just going to show you a quick video here. A few people have asked me about food when you're creating troops and it going in the red. Basically what I do is, as you can see, I have a lot of food here. There's 56 billion. What I do is I make gear for 3 captains and my hero that will give me 2 things in my case. One is a boost for making food and the amount of food that you have in your city. And the second thing is the troop training queue limit, which basically will increase the amount of troops you can build in one go. So to show you exactly what I have here, let's just pop into the captains and hero window. So I have a set here of the honored ruler gear on my hero. And the way I have it broken down, just to show you, for example, I have the highest possible gem I can for food production and any enchantments I have also. Now the enchantments aren't as important, but what you want to remember to do, the honored ruler gear that you make, don't ever attack with it on. It's okay for you to have it on in defense. So if somebody attacks you and your shield is down, your armor or this gear, particular gear, won't take any damage, okay? Only in defense. Your gear only takes damage when you attack. So if you forget, for example, and leave this gear on and you go and attack somebody for whatever reason, you will take 1 point of damage, okay? So what you want to do is you want to try and get these food gems. They're very important. So you can see I have a full set of honored ruler gear for my hero. The base research speed without gems on this top gear basically is 30% building resource production, silver and food production, construction speed and research speed. It's plus 30%. That's across the board, okay? So as I have 6 of those pieces on, that gives me a research speed and construction speed of 180%. Okay, so 6 pieces of gear multiplied by 30% is 180. But you can see it would be 180% in the production of building resources and silver and food. But because I also have on this gem and any enchantments that I have with it, I'm managing to boost her up to a silver and food production of plus 415%. So that's just on my hero alone, okay? I have, again, another red gem there, a red gem there. As you can see, actually, I also have a training enchantment that increases the training queue limit. So that's the amount of troops you can train in one go. Again, a red one there. And whenever I get an opportunity to, if I had, let's say, 4 gems here, or 3, I would be able to take this one back and increase it to the next level. So you can see that the red one, the ascendant one gives me 35%. The godlike one will give me 45%, so it'll be an extra 10% onto my base limit of building resources, silver and food, etc. So yeah, this is very important to do. So that's on your hero. You have 1 set. As she has 4 sections that you can put gear in, it is important for her to have that particular set on her of the food and silver creation. It's very beneficial. The other 3 captains that I have set up with this are, firstly, Helen. She is really important in the game because she straight away gives a bonus to food production speed and troop training speed dependent on her level. So she's currently 300 in my case. So because of that, the feature, she's getting 300. But you can see again, if you go in here, I have a red food. I do have troop training speed on. I might change that at some stage to a training queue limit, but I don't think I have one now. Again, a red gem for food creation, silver creation, and again, another one for food and silver creation. They're important, okay? So at that now, with her added in, you can see that my production speed now is up to 10,707,000, okay? If I add my other 2 captains in that I also use for this, I have Captain Straw, again set out with a food gem, and food gem. And the last one I just happened to use is Dustan. I set him up specifically to give a boost to training Q limit. So I'm getting a plus 55.5% training Q limit from him. So from the troop training speed gem that he has on, but also I have a training Q limit gem and another training Q limit gem. Straw I have set up with two options. As you can see, he's on plus 210% because he has food gems on this one, but I also have him set up with training Q limit and troop training speed, which does drop down the food production. So at the best output for him, he's at plus 210%. Dustan, by nature of the godlike equipment that I have on him, he already gets his bonus to silver and food production, plus 30% for each piece that he's wearing. And then, as I say, I have one set on him to increase the training Q limit. So with those guys all selected, I can now get my production speed up to 11,960,000 per hour. If I wanted to swap the gear, the gems that I have on Dustan out for food gems, again, that could probably boost up to about 13 million per hour. But I do like to have the training Q limit because it makes a difference to how many troops he can train. So as you can see, my current army upkeep expenses are 3,786,000 per hour. So that means that I can basically train enough troops to give me get me up to 11 million per hour. So roughly 8 million's worth of food I can train troops to. Now, the next thing that I do then in this situation, just to show you, I go back then to my troop calculator. And on my troop calculator, I select the hero I'm going to use to do any attacks. For example, I will be using Hercules. In fact, I will be using Hercules, but currently I'm actually using a Manitor. So I have a Manitor selected currently because we're doing raids in this new event that's on at the minute, which is the Trials of Olympus, and it's the Trial of the Chimera. Now, basically, we're running raids. I can either use a Manitor, which will give a boost to the strength of the raid, or I can use Hercules or Cleo for that matter. But we want fighting captains because we're trying to take down as many of these epics as possible. Anyway, back to the food. So basically, that's the way I do the food. Once I have them all on, I know I can train a massive army. Just to touch on something here, don't underestimate Helen. I know she is a captain that you have to purchase. The higher the star levels you get her up, the larger the food production speed will. So I think I'm about 215 away from the next level. And the next level then, my food production speed will go from 440 to 680%. My troop training speed will go from 230 to 320. So there is a massive benefit in starring her up, but also increasing her level. So when you get a chance, if you're attacking epics, do use Helen from time to time. Fit her with some fighting gear, specialist gear I have on her, and a piece of guardsman gear, and basically then she can go and attack the epics, say the likes of Doomsday, Arachne. It's not a great event because there's so many stacks, but certainly on Doomsday and maybe even on some of the current events. If you're not in a clan that puts a lot of pressure and stress on having to defeat epics, then you can pretty much do it at any stage. You will benefit from leveling her up from a food perspective. Just to add something actually, something that's pretty important as well when it comes to food. In your talent points, as you have here on your heroes page, if you click on this, you get the option to reset talents, and basically you can reset the talents as you see fit, whether it be more towards archaeology, more towards economy, or into battle tactics and expert battle tactics. But specifically on the food, there is something you want to make sure you have maxed out, and that's in economy. You will see here in economy that there are several tabs. Let's just say you had a silver city, you would want silver production basically maxed out. And each time you max it out, the silver production in your city will increase from a lowly 0.5% all the way up to 40%, depending on what level and point you are at as you move across. But the important thing in here is the food. So we want to basically do two things. One is also, when I am building an army, I will always try and be on a food tile on the map, okay? So for example, if I click on this tile here, okay, you can see that for food and religious tractate, you get a 90% plus 90% bonus. If I was in the forest, I get a boards and lumber production. If I'm in the mountains, I get iron and steel, a mix of iron and steel, stone and cement, and health and strength of fortifications. If I was on a silver tile, you can get anything from 70 to 90% if you can find a good one. So that should be at 60. What about this one here? Yeah, that's up to 80%. But you can basically find tiles that will suit certain resources and assist you. But in this case, for training troops, I will always want to be on a tile that gives me a 90% food and religious tractate. So basically, I will always be on a tile that gives me a 90% boost to my food, okay? No point in being in the middle of a forest, because that's only going to help boards and lumber, depending on where it is. No point in being in the mountains. Again, it's not going to help my food at all, help health and strength to my fortifications, stone and cement production. So each tile is very important to check and make sure that the tile is specific to you. Let's just say you wanted to do collect silver or increase your silver production. You want to be on a sand heavy quicksand, in this case, tile, for example, you get an 80% bonus there. There you go. So there's silver and scientific tractate plus 90%. That's the highest you can get to, okay? And that will be putting them on a tile that is not too close to the edge of another tile. All right? So, yeah, so that is important. And in your talent points, in economy, you then want to make sure that they are maxed out. So in this case, my food production in the city in level 1, okay, is set to 20 out of 20. That's giving me a plus 30% boost. Also, the tile bonus that I'm on is giving me a plus 50% boost. In other words, if I'm on a silver tile, I'll get a plus 50% boost to silver production. If I'm on a food tile, plus 50% to food. If I was on a mountain tile, plus 50% to maybe stone and cement and strength of my fortifications, i.e. my walls. And basically that's the way you want it as you go across your levels from 1 all the way through. On the food production level 2, again, another 30%. The tile bonus, again, another 50%, right the way over to the very end. The furthest you can get possibly over on this, your food production right up to now plus 60%, and my tile bonus on to plus 50%. So all of those factors in the economy section in your talent points are important to add alongside your honored ruler gear with the best possible gems you can for food creation, and you switch between them then each time. You might get some free teleports, and that means then you can teleport onto those tiles when you're ready to build a large army. If you're stuck with needing a silver tile, then obviously you're going to lose out on the benefits for that. But still make sure that in your talent points you do have your food production always set to the maximum you can. Okay, again, talent points you'll get from time to time. A lot of, you'll get them free. The higher level you are, the larger the clan you're in, and the better the gifts you get from the clan. So it's all relative to basically getting the most food and creating the most food production to be able to build large armies. Okay, hope that helps. So I know I can train that many troops now. I am going to just do a little bit of training here just to show you the way I do it. So I know what I need. I have my calculator set and I can have a quick look and see how many troops. I will always train troops to attack epics 10 times. So let's just say, for example, one attack will be 250 Corax 2 and maybe 500 Corax 1. I will train 10 times that. So in this case, it would be 2,500 of them and probably 5,000 of them, depending on obviously how many it is per hit. So let me just have a look at my calculator here and work that out. Yeah, so when using a calculator, obviously you can have that open the same page and you just work out if you can manage to. But generally, if you have fairly good food creation, food production bonus, you should be able to do this if you put that honored ruler gear on 3 captains and your hero. Okay. So in this case, I have it set to my top captain, who would be Hercules. And I'm going to base that on his leadership. So his leadership currently for me is 175,000. That's including the dragon. So I'll just go ahead and I'm going to train some troops. So G9s I can hit with each hit, I can go with 388. So multiplying that by 10 means I want 3,880. And hit train. You can see there the silver it's going to cost me, the amount of time it's going to take. Again, that's with my gems. But you can also see the maximum I can train is 5,789. If I was to change the gear that is on Dustan, to just take that gear off, let's just say, okay, 5,789. If I go back in now, you can see I'm down to 4,660. So there is a big benefit in me using the training queue limit gems, because that's increased the amount I can train by having those gems on by 1,000. So it does make a big difference to the amount you can train, how fast you can train them, etc., etc. Okay, so 3,880 and hit train. Obviously, help when you're training, it does help if your clan members give you help while training these. But I do have a lot of speed ups saved. So I am currently using a few of my day ones and a few of them. So that's basically the way I do it with the food option. And I'll just go and whittle through all my troops, training 10 sets of each, which means then I can go and attack an epic 10 times and I don't have to worry about training any more troops. Another thing to keep in mind as well, if you don't have or can't afford to purchase mercs, or you don't have or can't afford to purchase or use monsters, don't be afraid to just use your silver troops. And by silver troops, you probably know what I mean. It means basically troops that are created with silver. If you have spare silver available, obviously you can then create an army, and as you die each hit, you can then just delete all your troops and start again from scratch. Currently, with the amount of troops that I'm going to build here for this army, I'm probably going to spend close to 1 billion in silver. Maybe not far off that, maybe 850 million, but it won't be far off 1 billion, and then I have enough obviously for 10 attacks. Okay, so that's just a wee breakdown on how I work out my best option to create troops and give me a bonus to the food. Just to let you know that obviously when I take off all of that armor, the honored ruler gear, and change my captains back to my fighting captains, and I've changed my hero back to being a fighting hero, this value up here will obviously go into the red. But given the fact that food is something that you're going to get in the game constantly, it'll be in all of the packs that you purchase. You get it for exploring crypts, you get it for attacking citadels, you get it from chests from the clan. You generally will always live in the red. But bear in mind that it's not a problem, because you may be in the red once you create all your troops, but if you're going to play and do attacks consecutively, you are then going to end up back in the black again in the food, and you won't be in the red anymore. So you're really only going to be in the red for the amount of time it takes you to do the 10 attacks. Not something to have to worry about, because as I say, food is a resource you're going to get constantly in this game. It's really not a problem. I mean, if you look, I've got 56 billion food there. If I go down to my chests, I have 1.5 million food chests to open. I have 1,100, 2.5 million. I have 6,826, 5 million ones. So I have a lot of food, and you too will have a lot of food as you grow in the game and you get further down the journey. Okay guys, hope you've enjoyed that video. Hope it's been useful. Please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already to the channel. The more people I get on the channel, the more information I can get out there and help people grow in the game. Thanks very much. Thanks for watching. Curf, peace out.